I would first like to thank Matt for peace development and human rights for the opportunity to talk in this event and for always involving Peacebuilding Initiative in this very important fora. My name is Marianna Lillo, and I am a board member of Peacebuilding Initiative, that is a student initiative of the Graduate Institute, as Nourhan mentioned earlier. Today, I will try to give you a glimpse of the perspective of youth on peacebuilding and disarmament issues. And I will start by telling you a little bit about us, Peacebuilding Initiative. We were founded in 2019 with the emphasis of having an initiative on campus that was devoted to peacebuilding and to providing a bridge between academia and professional opportunities. Our aim is to enable youth in Geneva and more around the world to engage in professional opportunities in the peacebuilding sector and to learn about the field. In fact, we believe that academia has a vital role to guide youth into pathways that may turn their passions into potential careers and to broaden their network also. And this is what we have been aiming for over the past 3 years. I personally joined Peacebuilding Initiative in September at the beginning of my master's studies, and my role consists in managing the initiative's social media. This position has provided me since the very beginning with, let's say, a privileged gaze on young people's level of engagement in peace talks. And the main reason why the initiative relies very much on social media is that we deem them as a great platform to engage youth from all over the world. For instance, we post weekly peace news stories that are brief posts where people can gain access to neutral information on conflicts, peace processes, historic events, and that provide them with different angles on peace building that they may usually tend to come across on traditional media. And what I could witness so far from my perspective of social media manager, judging from the turnout data available about our articles and posts, is that there is really a strong crave for knowledge from my peers. I think that we are a generation that places the utmost importance on being up to date about the intricacies of current events. And we struggle to do this. So, for example, by listening to podcasts or watching documentaries, and by always being looking for sources of information that present the latest developments of the security and disarmament field from the most innovative angles. And media representatives certainly play a role in answering to this demand for awareness. But at Peacebuilding, we believe that it is also the duty of civil society, together with academia and international institutions, not to let this thirst for fresh knowledge to go unanswered. And on top of our online activity, we also host in-present events with peacebuilding professionals, and we partner with external organizations of international Geneva, such as MAT. Here, practitioners give advice and tell stories to young, hopeful attendees that are entering the professional spheres. And since I am here today to talk about the potential of youth in the disarmament and peacebuilding field, I can really tell you that the number of people that show up to our events to listen to the stories and experience of the older generation is really encouraging, and honestly never fails to positively amaze me. And at Peacebuilding Initiative, we strongly believe in the potential of this intergenerational dialogue across sectors and borders. And this is why we seek to advance these precious exchanges between people of different ages. Moving now to the gender equality perspective, which is the focus of this event. Each of our events is well embedded in the profound conviction that women have the right to participate in internal security decision-making. I have recently come across the 2022 report on gender and disarmament of the UNIDIR, United Nations Institute for Disarmament Research. And according to this report, there are two ways, mainly, in which gender perspectives can be addressed in the field of arms control. So the first one is to apply the so-called gender analysis or gender lens. And this means recognizing how the attributes, opportunities, and relationships that are associated with being a woman or a man affect issues such as exposure to risk, or the likelihood of becoming a survivor of violence, or the ability to access medical attention and the long-lasting biological and tragically physiological impacts of weapons and individuals, as Ambassador Finaud mentioned earlier. At Peacebuilding Initiative, we strive to incorporate this gender lens in our events. And for example, the first example of this practice that comes to my mind is an event that we organized in November concerning the stereotypes, expectations, and realities of gender in the peacebuilding domain that was hosted by women professionals from the field. The second approach to address gender perspectives in arms control and disarmament, according to the report, is to promote gender equality and improve women's meaningful participation in arms control, non-proliferation, and disarmament fora. And in this regard, Peacebuilding Initiative is very lucky, I have to say, because we work in an environment such as the one of the Graduate Institute, which I think is an example of best practice in terms of the attention that is paid to matters of inclusion. Examples are the Graduate Institute's Gender Center that produces research that always questions the gender power relations in development and international relations, or initiatives such as the Innovation Camp that was held last spring, which aimed at promoting feminism and women's leadership in international law and policy. And I know, and so does my student initiative, that working and growing in an environment that, besides being intellectually stimulating, is attentive to gender equality is a privilege that is tragically not granted to everyone, because not all young people, and above all, not all young women around the world have the same access and the same resources, and above all, the same rights that my classmates and I have, and that allow us to study and pursue the objectives that appeal to us the most. And this is perhaps the strongest form of inequality that affects people of my age. Therefore, our hope and recommendations are that decision-making institutions may strengthen their resolutions that work to fill this gap, which has no reason to exist, and that they do so in the form of operational commitments rather than mere preambular language, as it often is the case, unfortunately. And following this argument, while I was preparing for this event, I came across the UN short movie Nations United that is available on the webpage of this event. And I incurred in the words of one of the most prominent young activists and young women of our times, that is Malala. And her words really struck me for how relevant they were to the focus of this event. And I would just like to conclude by borrowing her short speech about the role of youth for achieving a more equal world. So, we are living in a world where things are not the way we want. We are getting a system, we are getting a world which is unequal, which is sexist, which is racist. We have systems that are discriminating against people. Our climate and our environment are at risk, and there is so much that needs to be done. But I hope that young people, they stand up, they raise their voices, they start their activism right now. Let your age not stop you. Oftentimes, we are told that you have to be 40 or 50 to change the world. I do not believe in that. I think you can be a change maker right now, if you are 11, if you are 16, if you are 30 or 40. Change is possible anytime, and I want you to believe in yourself and make this world a fairer, more equal, and better place for each and everyone. So in conclusion, it is important that we cooperate across generations as much as possible to achieve these goals. So I encourage you to seek contact with us at Peacebuilding Initiative to try to achieve the goals that we all set together. Thank you for your time.